So here we are with another book review, and this time again it's Valiant Wings. It's following on from the Messerschmitt BF-109 review that I did. This is quite obviously based on the Supermarine Spitfire, and part 1, which this book is, covers the Merlin powered Spitfires and also includes the Seafire. I believe it's even written by the same person, and it's produced by Valiant Wings. This has been given to me by a friend just to review and have a look through, because I've got a Spitfire coming up on the channel, so a little bit of a teaser there. It is worth reviewing this one in comparison to the 109. They're more or less exactly the same as far as content is concerned. However, strangely, this one has a lot less modelling orientated stuff in comparison to the 109. That's the only difference, and there's an awful lot of information, as you would expect from a Spitfire book. The Spitfire is a very well loved subject, so there's a lot of information about it. But just to show you here, that is the entirety of the modelling content there, and when you compare that to the rest of the book, there's obviously quite a lot that isn't to do with models. So based on that, we'll just start with the models, and here it runs through, much like in the 109, it runs through the different kits manufactured in different scales. And again, this is not this is more in detail in one sense, in dialing into the particular kit. However, the 109 had a lot more kits in the different options. Even had 144 for instance, and as you run through the 172nd, I mean, it's all there, but I just get the feeling there's not as much depth in this one as far as the models are concerned. But as you can see, it's running through there. We're into the Edward ones. All of this is just based on the Revel kit, which is interesting. And you've got 132nd here, so you've got Hobby Boss, Revel. Then running on to Tamiya, the cream of the crop. 124th, it picks up the Trumpeter kits. And then we've got builds here, so this one is the Airfix 172nd Mark II. Then we've got an Edward Mark 9E in 172nd scale. This looks like it's got all the bells and whistles included in this build. And then we've got a 148th Mark 9E, the late version, by Edward. And then Tamiya 132nd Mark 9C. And then that completes the build. So looking at the rest of the book, it says complete guide again, and much like the 109, it really is. It is absolutely full of content. Ranging through all of the Merlin Engine Spitfires, obviously, so I'm going to catch myself out here, but basically the pre-productions in the Mark 1 all the way up to, I believe, the Mark 10, is it? These are Seafires, so you've got right the way up to the different versions of the Spitfire. Right, well, this is where it gets confusing. I'm not a Spitfire aficionado here, and getting into the PR versions already confuses the numbers, but basically we run up to the Mark 9, I believe. Presumably the Griffin engine came into it from then on, but as you can see, so we run up to the Mark 9, then we've got the PR Spitfires, and then we go into the Seafires as well. Which is all very useful, to be honest. It's nice to have the Seafires included. Here you go with lots of details you'd expect. The Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, one of the most famous engines ever, I guess. Certainly aircraft engines. And here you go, you've got some nice reference shots here of real Spitfires, both in colour, present day ones that are refurbs in the museums, and you've also got some black and white ones from the time. Here you've got the fishtail exhaust, for instance, which is a nice shot of that. And yeah, I mean, it's absolutely full of it. Then we start breaking down into some drawings showing the interiors and cutaways here, explaining all the different types of parts here. Here we're on to oil, fuel, coolant and hydraulic and oxygen systems, and then obviously that's going to run through into the cockpit, the canopy, the radio section behind, and everything else that you'd come to expect. Nice colour pictures again there of an aircraft in a museum. and some being refurbed, and some here originals as well in black and white, and as you can see, exhaustive. So if you're into Spitfires, regardless of the modelling content in this one, I mean, this is just I mean, you can't pass up on it, I would imagine, if you're any way inclined to modelling Spitfires. And then as we get to the back, much like the 109 again, we've got fold-outs here of 1/48 scale plans, covering every single version in here one way or another, whether it's just side profiles, top-down views, etc. Some of them are in detail. You've got the different trop ones there, and they've got full rivet detail and panel lines here as well, which is very useful. And you can obviously, if you're into that fit sort of thing, measure up your kit against it being in 1/48 scale to check dimensions. So there you can see again how useful this is. So a very comprehensive guide to the Merlin Spitfires. And that's reminded me on the back, we've also got colour profiles, so there's an awful lot of those. As you can see, quite a lot here in foreign markings as well, which is useful. Obviously the Spitfire was well used by a whole load of people, not just the RAF, through the Second World War. And here's, you've got some different ones here as well, so you've got the PR ones coming through. Not sure if any of the racers are covered in this. I wouldn't probably have thought it was topical, but I'm not sure. There might be the racers included as well, because it was used for that. There's a two-seater there as well, which is 1948 in the Indian Air Force. Sorry about the glare there. And there's good write-up on each one of these, and it covers the different countries that we're using them here. You've got Netherlands, Italy, and there's a nice good amount of information there. So yeah, to repeat myself again, tons and tons of information. So that is a look inside the Valiant Wings airframe and miniature number 12 series, covering the Supermarine Spitfire. This is part 1, obviously part 2 to come, covering the Griffin engines, and this is the Merlin powered versions, including the Seafire. An endless amount of knowledge in here to be had for reading through, and I would say it's vital for anyone planning to model the Spitfire or learn anything about it.